over the years, plenty of countries have had revolutions. Outcome's always been the same. Loads of dead people, and they're still French or Russian. I suppose there are upsides to revolutions. But the Brits are a bit savvy about that, you see. Because we didn't kill loads of people. We invented jobs and stuff. So if you were sort of a labourer, or swept the factory, or were down the bottom of the pile, you'd end up with a metal spoon and a pair of steel toe-cap clogs. Everyone got a pair and a spoon. But if you were near the top of the pile, you got a steam locomotive. Or a bloody big metal ship. Or one of them. A big cast iron bridge. We knew what we were doing. Now, of course, that was a few hundred years ago. And we don't need to bother with it anymore. We get the Chinese to make all of our stuff now. But we got stuff like this kicking around still, just to remind us how great we were. And I can touch it. I can walk underneath it. I can go right up to it. First cast iron bridge in the world, ever. Shit, we were good. This is where the Industrial Revolution started. Now if you're in this neck of the woods, it's probably worth a visit. There's some cracking museums, working museums. I mean, we're just on the front edge of the tourist season now, so it's getting pretty busy. This is the local touristy bit. Plenty to see. There's another metal bridge. Damn sight newer that one is though. And that river is of course the River Severn. The longest river in the UK. Starts in the wilds of Wales and ends up going into the sea down by Bristol. Right, so what's new with this bike? Nothing. I updated you. I tucked the tail light. I did go, today's Thursday, and I did go to the Tiddly last night, but it was a little bit sort of gently drizzly and shitty in the atmosphere, and this camera is not waterproof. So I thought, rather than risk getting moisture in a bloody expensive camera that I've only just fixed, I didn't have much on today, so I thought I'll pop out today and do the old revolution video. And a bit of a ride around in the sunshine. Now the reason this road is all up and down and lumpy and bumpy is I mean, they used to scrape coal and mine coal and all sorts here to power the furnaces. So there's a lot of mine works around here. There's a lot of subsidence, and consequently, I mean, you'd struggle to get a mortgage, to be honest. Not that I really want to get a mortgage. I'm happy living the complete opposite side of the town, probably about 10 or 12 miles away from here. In fact, I don't even live in the town, I live right on the edge. So I don't suffer with tourists. Unless, of course, I come down this neck of the woods. That place there is what they call Ingenuity. That is actually a museum, and it's all the technical stuff. That's worth a visit. They're all worth a visit, to be honest. If you're in this neck of the woods, go take a look. See how they did it back in the day. Yeah, so I had a couple of compliments last night. Somebody was stood. I was at the pub, at the bike meet. I was actually sat at one of the benches chatting to a guy who'd come up on a Honda CRF into his trail riding, which of course I am as well. Not on this bike, I might add. On my other bike. Anyway, I was chatting to him, and there was a guy stood there staring at this Triumph for quite some time, and he was there when I left, so he collared me before I got my helmet on, asking me all sorts of questions about it. He'd read reviews and seen tests on them and seen one or two of them around, and he couldn't put his finger on what was different, because there was another one there, an absolutely stock standard one. And he couldn't put his finger on what was different about my bike. So basically I ran through with him everything that I'd done, which has been over the course of quite a few videos. So I was talking to him for quite some time. And yeah, he was loving it, because I explained to him that I was trying to be historically sympathetic and actually make it look a little bit like a cross between a 1950s, 60s Triumph Scrambler or Desert Sled. And well, I think I've got it right, and he chucked a compliment or two in my direction, so I think he thought I got it right as well. Now normally when I start farting around with bikes and changing them and altering them and doing little bits and pieces to them, normally what happens is I get bored with it, and I sell the bike and I start working on something else. I mean, I've only really owned the facility to video this since, what, a year, 18 months perhaps before I owned this bike. So all of my I started off with the CCM, which I still own. I've had that for a little while now. Originally my videos were the Triumph side of it anyway, was on my Tiger, my old 955 Tiger. And then I chopped that in against this, and I think I've done more videos with this bike than I have with anything else. But I'll keep churning them out. Can't decide what I should be doing next, if anything. I'm sure something will crop up. I'll spot an idea. Somebody else will have done something, and I'll think to myself, yeah, I'm going to do that. Something I had considered doing, undecided. I've got some chunks of carbon fibre kicking around, proper carbon fibre, and I'm toying with the idea of changing those things there for carbon fibre covers. But I don't want to make it too bling. They weren't bling back in the day. They were sort of functional, and I'm worried that carbon fibre might bling it up a bit too much.